Hello and welcome back to our after show convo between Peter Lucas and Ty Keenen. Join us as we continue our chat about who knows what.
Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
wearehistorically.com, Conscious Brand Apparel, and
Learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
It's coming into this realm of loving yourself. Like self-love fully is that expression of doing things that make you happy. And when you can tie that creative expression in with like your passion for work or your drive, like it's a magical recipe. And I think that's the thing is, in truth, like Nero Homo is the I guess you would say the fruition or the manifested realization of that knowing, where it's just like it's fun. There's the genre jumping aspect. There's so much stuff going on within each track. Like the interludes paint this imagery, so I like the closing trade. Like I'm just like, you just close my eyes, just like see it, like it's like you're painting with the words and the sounds, and it's coming from this kind of, I guess you would say, this playful nature. Like you can tell like throughout the production of it, it's like you're having fun, you're doing you. Yeah. And that's why it hits different, because you're just like, oh, someone being authentically genuine themselves. Like what?
It means a lot.
Huh?
It means a lot. Yeah, there's times in the album where you should be laughing. Like there's moments where you should like feel elation and joy and relief and just like, wow, or crack up. Like there's so absolutely that. And I think when you are your true self, you can really be unbound with your emotions. You're not crafting your emotions. No, you're crafting the sound waves. Your emotions are free. That's the element that is like completely unchained in the room, in the space, in your aura. What you're crafting are the frequencies, EQing this and compressing that and arranging, chords and stuff like that. That's the craft. Your emotion though needs to be rich. It needs to be leave the pulp in, it needs to be like
leave the pulp in.
It needs to be like the whole thing, all of it, and so the album. And at this point, Jose, he kind of really gave me the confidence with certain things to say, no, that's working, that's good, no, that's great, and it'd be like, really, you think, you sure that you can do that? No, it needs that, because this over here and this is happening this way, you need to have now it go this way, so it's balanced. And so kind of, again, back to people who are in your corner, people who are on your team, and you as an artist getting out of the way and allowing. For me, it was, I wanted this album to be the best it could be, and if that meant other people carrying it or having their fingerprint on it, or whatever it is that our ego says, no, it's mine, don't do that. Allow it to be greater than what you can make it, what you can do. Right. Have it be better than you, you want your child to grow up to be better than you. For me, I had to realize with this album that I want it to be better than me. And so what that required was for me to trust people that have perspectives that I didn't, to ask for opinions from people who I knew were on my team, as, just layman ears or expert ears, but know who you're talking to, so that's, it's a labor of love and of lessons.
Well, it's a real recognizes real moment for me, because those that recognize that each being has that perspective that is unique, and you can really exchange puzzle pieces and be like, here we go, nice little exchange, then it's just like, oh, cool, I see the image better, I hear it better, I see it from this more like full spectrum of an aspect of like, this scene makes a lot more sense now. And that right there is, compassionate living is so rare. And that's when it's really important. I always want to highlight that too, triple down, quadruple down, where it's just like,
that's right.
it really is about finding people that are on your team. And a huge part of that or aspect is, are they open to see your perspective? You know, are they going to hear you? Are they going to actually speak with you, or are they going to be talking at you? Like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
like, it's a subtle
Yeah.
thing, but like when
Yeah.
people, if they don't catch themselves sleeping on it, like you can really navigate life and people who are just kind of about it or not really easily, just through that subtle aspect of like,
Wow.
do they hear me? Or am I having to explain this more than like twice? Like,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a blessing when you do find people on your side that can really appreciate and value you for being you. And I think that's something right there where a lot of people don't give themselves the love to even receive that. Like, because those
Right.
types of relationships take work, you know, it's like all
Mhm.
relationships are like tending a fire, you know, you got to work at the flame a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful to see that, like, you're like, I don't know, it's one of those things where you see musicians, and usually it is that ego realm of just like, oh yeah, look at what I did, look at what this, and you're just like, oh man, the people that were involved in this was amazing. That's like the first thing you said about the album. Like,
You can't do it all. And I guess I after my last year of college in 2013, I formed an amazing band where it was like all-star drummer, all-star bass player, all-star keyboard, saxophone, all-star guitar player, like a great band. And we had like a good 8-month run. And then we graduated college and went our separate ways. And that was a huge like ego death for me as a very like infant artist who had been now recording music for 2 years. And like, you know, to me, it felt like traction, and people were, you know, like noticing I was getting affirmation and stuff. To have now the music taken away from me, and I didn't know what key these songs were in. I could perform them. We won like a Battle of the Bands competition at WSU and like did some amazing shows.
nice.
But I didn't know what key these songs were in. I didn't I couldn't reproduce them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't own the music. They were my songs, but they weren't my songs. So that was a real huge kind of hit to me and my trajectory of just being comfortable as the lead vocal songwriter. You know, I realized that that's a very like, what is it, feeble or like delicate, you know, like it's a little sprout tree, you know what I'm saying? Like it needs all of these supports. And if they're not there, it's not growing to grow tall. So I realized I had to grow my roots first before I grew my sprout or stalk. You know, the stalk it's not going to mean nothing if it ain't got the roots to support it to weather the storm. So that was me realizing I needed to learn how to play piano. I needed to learn how to play guitar. I needed to learn how to play the bass and record and be a producer and engineer and learn so I don't have to ask people or, you know, rely on other people. I kind of became like, but it was a little bit out of a bitterness as well that I was carrying with me as a projector type. Like, fine, I'll just do it. You know, I'll master these instruments. You know, I can do obsessive about these things. But then kind of come full circle, I matured again and realized that no, I actually shouldn't be great at everything. And I'm not, and I can't. And I'd be crazy to think that I can be the best at every aspect of writing and recording a song. You're silly. You have to. And so I kind of began to respect my strengths, which required me to see my weaknesses. And that was a huge revelation with this project. And that's why now I'm so grateful and you know, speak highly of the people who were a part of the project to make it great as it was. And I don't feel in type of way of saying I didn't do that. You know, because I used to have this thing where I wanted to say, yeah, I made it all. I played all the instruments and produced it and engineered it and you know, kind of be self-contained. But again, it's like an ego thing. You know, you don't, that's not real. You don't need to, and it's not gonna be better. It's not ever gonna be better than you if you're standing in the way of it. You know, like get out of the way and let the art grow bigger and better than you know.
Right.
So the album is better than me. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
And that's that's what transcends it though, is, it transitions into someone just putting out, like an album to someone creating art. And I think that's the stuff where it hits different. So, I just got to say, like, good work to you and the squad, pulling up, doing it big, because
Thank you.
it is amazing though, man. Like when you just look at simply just the perspective that you have and your approach to life, it really is one of those, it's the new wave of consciousness that I see coming together, because it's a very introspective, objective, but being kind and compassionate towards the subjective, and the real big kind of giveaway to it for me was like your just acceptance and your, I guess you'd say, your comfortableness with surrender and letting go. And like, that's one of those ones where it's just like, oh yeah, people who learn to let go of the hot pan, and just like, that's what's up. Like, we need more people out there doing it, because hardest thing to do is just to let go of those expectations, those judgments, just the surrender to like the tensions and the ego, like chattering about, and just be like, okay, cool, have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be great either way, It's the only thing is we mess it up. We're the ones that mess up the magic a lot of times, yeah. And I also gotta say, I gotta add this about the album. A lot of the motive, or to me and Jose, the point of the album is to confront the injustice within how the police departments are run, and government policies, and just racism as an institution as a whole, and as an example, the message was the first song that I wrote 4 days after experiencing my first encounter with police prejudice. Wow. And people can have prejudice, but when you're in a position of authority, such as a police officer, and you have prejudice, the results are different. Yeah, and someone called the police on me because I was pulling out of a parking spot downtown after doing a loadout at the Moore Theater. I used to work at the Moore Theater, and at the Crocodile, and it was 1 a.m. and it's on First Avenue in Virginia. And I was pulling out of a parking spot, and when I pulled there 2 hours ago, there wasn't a motorcycle behind me, but now there's a motorcycle behind me. And I back up and I tap the motorcycle. Whoa, I didn't hear that. There's people going, whoa, 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 whoa. I go, oh, wow, my bad. Hold on, let me talk to them, do the right thing, put the car in park, go back, see what's happening. The bike moved this much because you can see the kickstand scraped on the ground that much. The bike is still standing, right? It's like, chill. This dude has a whiskey glass in his left hand and his helmet in the other hand, and he's hostile. That's my bike. How dare you? You're gonna give me your information. I go, whoa. I really don't see what's happening here. Like, what's the problem? But look, all right, I'll be cordial. Here's my information. Because he was coming off hostile, when he wanted to take a picture of my ID, I put my thumb over my address. He interpreted that as me being uncompliant. His white privilege was threatened by me having my own sovereignty and not surrendering to his white privilege and supposed authority. And he goes, you're not giving me your information. All right, I know what to do. Basically, I know what to do with people like you. I'm calling the police. They're going to be here any minute. Yeah. Hello? Yes. He's a black male and he's wearing all black, and he crashed into my car and he's leaving the scene.
Just like, what a hot take.
I was like, yo, you really realize what you're doing. His friends are over there. They're like looking at me like we can't excuse him, but I'm looking at them like, y'all ain't going to interrupt and say nothing. Like, you realize what's happening. You're calling the police on a black man. You're saying that he's already a criminal.
Yeah.
This doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, so it felt very intentional to me. It was very, he played a card that society has dealt him to play as the victim, but also as the oppressor at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I understood as it was going down, like, just how faulty it was, but I couldn't be salty in the situation because that, you know, as an emotional projector. And of course they want you to be all up in your emotions and say all kind of crazy stuff and step out of line so they can pop you. So it's like I had to just be cool and just let the whole thing happen. I had never been in handcuffs before or in a police car as a, at the time, 30-year-old black man. Surprise, surprise. I had never been to jail, right? So to me, it was a huge experience that shifted my personal narrative as a songwriter. And you know, growing up, my first idol was Tupac Shakur. So I wasn't, it's not that I wasn't already writing songs like The Message and Redline, but with that incident, it really helped me get to the point with very little hesitation of having a perspective of my own to speak from, which in some cases felt like it brought me closer to many of my brothers and sisters who have experienced that. So I used that experience to bring my story and my voice closer in alignment with those most oppressed. And The Message was a song that I wrote, you know, 4 days after the incident happened. It was the first track that I wrote. And it was just like, there's nothing to lose. I initially titled the song Nothing to Lose, because it was like, let me say everything, even, you know. So to me, that's the point of the album, and to Jose as well. So you have, you know, Aunt Brenda making comment on it, Miss Davis making a comment on it, and it kind of comes around back to that in a few ways. But it also, but here's another thing that I was really conscious of while producing and telling this narrative of police injustice, is that so many times the Black narrative and the Black identity is so identified with being the oppressed and the victim that that's all the story is. That's not reality. So like, I saw Jose and I saw the movie Moonlight in film or in the theaters like 2 years ago. And I was just so blown away how it was a Black film and a Black story, but it wasn't all dedicated to the plight of being a Black American in the United States. It had its own narrative that existed beyond being a reflection of institutionalized white supremacy. You know, like that's like their world does not evolve around that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, Eurocentrist is not the center of culture. It is not what our culture evolves around. So I was really conscious of being able to bring up these topics and confront them and having an opinion and providing solutions and challenging, but not making it the antithesis of, because then it would force you to embody that energy, but just in an anti-rebellious nature. So that's why you can laugh, you know, that's why there's, you know, the two kids or my nephew and niece saying, you know, well, I asked them, you know, all right, introduce me, you know, we used to have these jams in my bedroom a couple years ago. And then we go, okay, I'd like to introduce my uncle Ty Keenen. He is not an adult. You're not an adult, right? No, but you're not, you know, he's like a teenager, but he wants to be like really strong. So that's, you hear them kind of going on trying to describe like, who am I? You know, and I so much like don't fit into a lot of like these boxes, and I realized like it takes a lot of energy to like say, no, I don't fit in your box. No, I don't fit in your box. But it's a lot more graceful just to claim what's outside of the box. So Negro homo is very much an other. They're both words to make people other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Negro, you're other. Homo, you're other. So it's like just embody the other. And you don't have to worry about not fitting into a box, because you're not about to fit into a box because you have embraced the other.
And I love how you said it just like so subtly and quickly, just kind of like the anti-institutional, like the rebellious aspect of just like the questioner, the curious seeker. You know, to me, that's one of those messages that comes through in Redline And I always see everything going on right now with, that you're talking about in your story. It's the divine timing of it, because for me, it made sense when you're talking about just the origin of the message, where when you can really feel someone's song, like their creation, you can tell. It's like he said earlier about the sound, how you're constructing sound, but that emotion, you leave it. And that's what it stems. It's just angled through the emotions. And it's like, that's the projector that you're shining out. You're just like, all right, here's the emotional lens you want to see. And that's what hits different, because, it's I guess you would say the uncertainty, the fear, the loss, just the absurdity of the culture that we live in, just like that frustration, like all of that stuff comes through. And that's what's always so powerful about it, man, where it's, it's a timeless piece. And I always try to give people that type of like credit when credit's due, in the sense where it's like, because that's an aspect of society that has been unchanging for so long, and you could apply it to so many different things, of just the same plays and archetypes being played out, where when you can hear someone call it out effortlessly in a song, it's just like in a rap, it's like there you go, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I gotta say, Ty, if you had any type of last words for our listener, what would they be?
Well, one thing that comes to mind, still talking about kind of like the picking apart the incident that happened of being put in handcuffs, was the energy of the police officer, and his instructions were very like just suggestive. They suggested that I had already experienced that you know what to do. Oh, come on, you know what's going on,
Oh
yeah. And that was like so revealing. It was so revealing. It was like feeling the pulse of like slavery or something. It was just like
what is
wow, here it is. This is like it felt like cotton field or something. It was just like wow, like damn, it's right here, and that's something that that actually exists everywhere else in institutionalized America, society. Is you're suggested, okay, just move along in the line, everybody knows, stand in line, and there's a line over there, get in line, 6 feet apart nowadays, or how many different things, you go to the doctor's office, they say we need to draw blood, and now they're sticking a needle in your arm, or they write a prescription, you're supposed to just put it in your body, or back, all right kids, back from recess, here's your cookie, it's like ascorbic acid, like and a lot of life is just so suggestive that people, and then you got the cliche, like people herded like sheep, but like that's really happening to people's death. Like genocide is being suggested, just nudged along. And if you're just doing what feels comfortable to do next because other people are comfortably doing what other people are doing comfortably next, you're going to just be there's no reward other than your demise. Like the only thing at the end of that is a cliff. Like, so just really be suspicious and concerned with what feels right based on the mass population's acceptance of it. That should feel wrong. If it feels good to a lot of people, like eating a cheeseburger at McDonald's, billions of cheeseburgers, like now we really need to recognize that that's actually like backwards. So just be cool with having a perspective that is not being applauded or agreed with, or it wasn't provided to you, you found it on your own, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think we're in a really great time to where we have the this matrix to where we can have our really kind of extraordinary thoughts and ideas and questions and feelings are kind of reaffirmed by individuals in different places around the world, or groups of people, or to where information is being surfaced, so you can see that you're not alone with how you feel about things. But then that has kind of double-edged sword too, because we live in the age of information, but we live in the age of information. Like, it's just so much, like, and a lot of it's just like hella irrelevant, has nothing to do with you. So like, there's got to be a balance of like turning it off and just like centering and grounding within yourself. Like, there's so much information that's already exuding within and without us, that you don't really have to like go and be constantly seeking, scrolling and seeking all this stuff that's outside of you for it to find your strength, because a lot of that information that you really need is, it already lies within you. So that's
Facts. And with that, I gotta say, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Ty, thank you again for joining us on Creatives Chat.
Absolutely, y'all.
Roll the outro.
Thanks again to our sponsors for making this show possible.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always.
Why not? Another little nugget of wisdom for the listeners. What you got? Like,
a little nugget of wisdom. Okay, look. So here's my last little nugget of wisdom. It's an insight. So I didn't learn to play instruments until, pick up playing guitar until I was like 22. But what I had told myself in my head was something that I heard from my English teacher, Miss McPherson, in high school. I went to Mariner High School, and she said, she was like, "Well, I'm learning to play the harp." And but I never played, but I said, hey, I'm going to be 50 one day, so 5 years are going to go by, and I could either have learned to play or have not learned to play. And so for me, I've been telling myself, as like a young 20-year-old or something like that, people think it's too late. Oh, I wish I would have. I wish. Well, to me, in my head, I said, well, I'm going to be 40 one day, and I'd rather be filthy at 40 than not. So just do it, make room for yourself to renew yourself. I guess that's what's make room to renew. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Got a few shirts coming out of this for the brand, man.
All right, go ahead. Let me get one of them.
I love it. And with that, folks, thanks for tapping in. Roll the outro.
That concludes this episode of Creatives Chat. Thank you for watching. Join us every Thursday at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Daily Time as creative minds get together and chat about who knows what.
Cool. Got it.
View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I hate to say it, but that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, a little nugget of wisdom.